talk us through kind of, was there an aha moment? Obviously, like cookies, cookie dough, those are things that a lot of people consume, but the way
Yeah.
you serve it is different. So was there an aha moment, or did you see a trend? Kind of how did the spark for the idea come?
Yeah. Okay. So, well, it all kind of comes together of like, I'm like, I'm like swimming along, like I'm bored at my job. I need something else to do. And then there's like these trends that are happening and like everything kind of like came to this perfect, it like fusion of ideas and opportunities at the same time. So a couple years ago when I was having this like quarter life crisis of what am I going to do? Like if I have to work for 40 more years, I better make it fun and I
I'm there.
better
I'm there right
make
now.
it interesting, right? I mean, that's a lot of time to be bored. So I thought, well, I have a job that I'm really, really good at, but let's explore what a side hustle could be. And I mean, just as well as I do, is a side hustle is this really like buzzword term now. Everyone does something. If you're Ubering on the side or you're, I don't, anything you can do. So I knew I wanted to create something. And at the time, my husband, Steve, was kind of having he was having the same feelings. And it just was perfect that we had it at the same time, that we were both like, what's next? So we went to New York on vacation and we saw there was an edible cookie dough shop and we thought this was the coolest thing we had ever seen. And everyone relates to desserts. It's an easy product to sell. There's not a lot that goes into that. And so when we came home and we're honestly like had a couple beers and we're deciding what are we going to do? What does our life look like? One of my friends always describes it as how to architect your life. So we were like, how are we going to architect our own life? And we're throwing ideas against the wall. Like, what could we do? And we thought, well, we love festivals. We love concerts. What's always there? Food trucks. We can make it a hobby. We do it on nights and weekends. We have a good time. We're doing already the same things we like. We're just making money. And because we had just seen this cookie dough, concept in New York, we thought it doesn't exist in Cleveland. Let's just go for it. So we bought a truck we never drove, which I don't recommend to anybody. We started a business knew nothing about. And so, to talk about this idea of the genesis of your business, the biggest, I guess, piece of advice or recommendation I can give is just start before you're ready, because you'll never have the answers. If you have a cool idea, you can put some passion behind it, then you continue that passion, the rest will fall into place and you'll get better, but you just got to start. And that's exactly what we did.
Yeah, absolutely. So a question I have on that is around kind of like trend sensing. So
Mm.
I've noticed that a lot of VCs and like private equity people always talk about like pattern recognition, and a pattern that I see are people kind of building businesses around trends, and the length of those trends like 10, 15 years ago might have been 5, 10 years before they faded out. Now trends, because of social media and constant gratification, it seems like trends phase in and out so much faster.
Yeah.
So early on, were you considering, okay, this serving size of cookie dough was
Yeah.
a trend on the uprise again, and were you considering how long that trend might last, or did you think, look,
Yeah.
this market's booming, if we just grab a piece of it now, we can build a sustainable like dessert business down the road?
Yeah. I think if you look at just the history of how pop culture trends happen, they always start on the coast and then they start moving inward. And so I think what we saw is that I don't want to say Cleveland is the last to know cool things, but we're not always on the front of the line there. And so when we went to New York and we noticed nothing was like that in Cleveland, but we saw them in Phoenix, in California, in Miami, and we thought that trend is just gonna start to move inward towards the Midwest. So that was part of it. But Kyle, the funny thing is that I didn't care. 2 years ago, I didn't care. This business was not a big picture. How are we going to scale? How are we going to make $1 million? It was, how are we going to end our professional boredom? How are we going to create something that we feel is bigger than ourselves? And then we'll figure it out.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's what I think that didn't scare me too much in the beginning, but now as we invest more money and invest more time, sure, we are more aware of it.
Right.
But we'll just kind of see what happens.
And that's such a critical piece, is like not being afraid to just take 10 steps. When you're on step 1, you don't know what's in front of step 2 or 3, but you just start taking steps, and then before you know it, you have a snowball rolling downhill.